Goodness Games. Hello, everyone!
Hey.
Welcome to Oh My Goodness Games. Welcome to Hitting Close to Home. Oh god, this is it. I've been anxious on this part. Don't say it, Tommy.
I'm not. I was about to, though.
Alright, so as you people know, last episode we went with Lily and got Hanako a birthday present and stuff. Sticking, Lily's got paper. Woo! Little. And now we are in class the next day, and Mudo just said we have to work in groups, and I know what's about to happen.
Oh, no.
Oh gosh. This is actually one of the parts that make me, this is one of the reasons why Hanako's actually one of my favorite routes. Only second, mind you. Only second favorite route. So, Mudo is sitting down, and we're in class, and we gotta work in groups. Mudo sits down behind his desk, pulls some loose sheets out of a folder, and starts on some kind of paperwork of his own. I thought teachers were supposed to do that. Kind of thing after class, not during it. Regardless, I look to my right and pick out someone to form a group with. Given the two smiling faces hovering near mine, I don't think I'm gonna get much to say in the matter. I suppose we have a group then.
Hee-chan! You want to work together? Okay. That's great. It's been a really long while.
The class begins the process of noisily shuffling the desks around, with Shizune doing the same as she puts hers in front of mine. She's a little lucky to not be able to hear the din of the classroom, which is loud enough to cause some discomfort. Truth be told, working with Shizune and Misha is probably a good outcome. Shizune and I are pretty good at this subject, and Misha has really nice handwriting. As I look to Misha, I notice a tall figure behind her. The shadow catches Misha's attention as well, and she turns to face the dark-haired observer.
Good afternoon, Hanako. Hello.
Shizune finally notices Hanako, after looking at him and following the gazes of Misha and I. Quick measure, she taps Misha on the shoulder to get her attention before signing away.
She-chan says if you're looking for a group, you can join ours.
Hanako looks down and blushes a little at the offer. Out of all the people in the class,
How's this going to lead to what you said?
out of all the people in the class, Hanako's most familiar with.
You're not going to tell me, are you?
Nope. Most familiar with the three of us.
No.
So it's unreasonable that she'd come to us first. Then again, wait, no, it's reasonable. Shoot, I read like the opposite word.
Why did she come to us first? I didn't hear that.
She just came to us because she wants to try working with people.
Oh.
And we're the most familiar people.
Oh.
Then again, her actually coming up to a group with the intention of joining them is something she apparently rarely did before. She leaves briefly to drag her desk over, and Shizune and Misha wheel back to me as soon as her back is turned.
I guess we get to play again, Hee-chan. You hardly ever play with us anymore.
I wonder why. You two always seem to have some ulterior motive.
That hurt, Hee-chan. I'd almost think you were insulting me. But it's Hee-chan, so I know you're joking.
Such a great sense of humor about it. It'd be awful if someone were to take advantage of your good nature. Like making you help them with their work. Shizune seems excited for a second, a little surprised that I'm willing to challenge her, but when she sees Hanako coming back, she backs off with a smile. Guess the mind games are over early today. Hanako gently sets down her desk in front of Misha's. Her eyes are locked downwards, and I'm left wondering why until I look around the class. Most of us are busy setting up our own groups, but a few are casting curious glances at her. At this range, it's hard to tell whether that is where her intent. It's hard to tell whether that is where their intent, where their interest in her ends, or if they're talking about her as well. Jeez! Wow, I messed that up. It's strange. No one bats an eyelid when Hanako runs out of class to avoid group work, but now that she's making an effort, they're staring at her if she's done something wrong.
Wait, what? I didn't hear that last
Oh,
part.
for goodness sakes.
Sorry.
Alright. It's what people find everyone in class is looking at her like what is she doing? Because she doesn't join groups.
Oh.
Usually she leaves the classroom, remember?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah? Leaves the classroom.
Alright.
We all move to sort ourselves out, spreading our textbooks and worksheets around the larger surface created by the 4 joined desks. It isn't long before the class as a whole gets down to work.
Huh? Hi, Hanako. It's nice to finally work with you. Yeah. Are you the reason He-chan has been avoiding us lately? She-chan says it's a little rude, but if He-chan wanted to spend time with a cute girl, it's understandable. I don't think it's like that.
Hanako starts to fidget, unused to this kind of attention. I think that an ordinary person would drop the conversation by now, but Misha is like the antithesis of Hanako. Part of that includes being blind to ordinary social cues, while Hanako is overly sensitive to them. Because of that, Misha barrels on ahead with the questions, too quickly for me to get a chance to interject and guide the discussion somewhere more comfortable.
Really? So, he wasn't hanging out with you yesterday? No?
I can feel my cover being blown already. Lily didn't want Hanako to know that we were out buying presents for her, let alone planning out a birthday party. Wouldn't be good for her to find out. Yeah, I was doing something else. You know how it is.
Really? I wonder what's so important for He-chan to blow us off like that. If it wasn't to spend time with Hanako, then what could it be? That's really interesting.
Now this is starting to feel like an interrogation. I'm surprised at how Misha is able to exert such a feeling of pressure without actually intending it.
Were you with Lily?
Out of nowhere, Hanako manages to stumble on the answer. She may be dreadfully quiet and shy, but she's very initiative. She has good intuition. What makes you say that?
Yesterday, Lily said something similar. Suspicious! He-chan, I demand you explain yourself.
Hey, shouldn't we be doing the assignment?
But it's so mysterious. Even Hanako wants to know.
I turn to look at Hanako. It's true. From the expression on her face, it's obvious that she wants to know as well. I think we're past the point where I could weasel out of having to provide an explanation. I apologize to Lily in my mind. She really did want to keep it a secret, but now it doesn't seem possible anymore. I feel a rush of conflicting emotions, so jumbled that I can't readily identify them, but they crash around my head as I try to calm down and speak. Alright, I'll tell you. I went into town with Lily, but it wasn't what you think. Lily and I were... for Hanako's birthday, we were... The cat is out of the bag, but it looks like Hanako's taking it a little better than I thought she would. A brief silence passes around our little group as Suzune and Misha look at each other sheepishly. I can tell they didn't expect their game to turn out like this. Misha looks up to Hanako in order to apologize, then pauses. Hanako's staring at the middle of her desk and barely moving, a maudlin expression on her face. I guess I was wrong about her taking it well.
Hanako, I'm sorry.
There's a few seconds pause, but Hanako lifts her head and shakes her head.
It's okay.
Her expression looks odd. She seems very tired. It doesn't seem natural, but it's nothing alarming. Nobody really wants to continue with the current conversation, so we open our textbooks and begin our group work. It's pretty dull. While the equations were supposed to work... While the equations were supposed to work out as a group will take a while, most of it's going to be boringly mechanical. It also doesn't help that it also doesn't help that while that didn't go as okay. It also doesn't help that while that didn't go as bad as it could have, it has left an awkward atmosphere around
I'm
us.
starting to get uncomfortable.
Still, we manage. Suzune's face betrays that she has about the same expectations of our work as I do. The two of us begin to write our group results. Misha, on the other hand, is scrunching up her lips and very visibly trying to make heads or tails of what we're doing. Hanako's looking on quietly, observing what we write and what I say. She usually has this same expression when the teacher speaks. It's a shame her attendance is so unreliable. The way she takes on information, I'd think she'd do well in class if she actually followed the lessons regularly. I wonder if this might be why Shizune seems so hard on her.
Hey, Hanako, do you understand this?
Misha looks to Hanako, but I suspect her hope is more to find a comrade in ignorance rather than genuine help.
Not really, I guess.
I'm surprised by how tense she is in answering, but she settles back down. She breathes out, and the way her upper body and head lower remind me of a deflating balloon. You okay? I could go over this a bit if you want. Hanako shakes her head slightly, but then again, I don't think she needs the extra explanation despite what she said. Misha quickly interjects, entirely oblivious, and I end up slowly going through how we ended up at one of our results, step by step. Times like, oh my gosh, you can tell his mind's kind of racing. Times like this remind me that this kind of work may not be mechanical for everyone, but rather feels that way to me due to my grasp of the subject. And it's a satisfying feeling. As Misha brings her balled fist into an open hand in realization, I discover another nice feeling. My explanation got through to her, and she manages to work out the next equation by herself with a minimum of guidance. Throughout all this, Hanako's unusually unresponsive. She's normally very quiet, but one can still see her eyes roving periodically over the landscape of the classroom in front of her, or anxiously moving her hands in some way, or shifting her shoulders periodically. Right now, these small movements that I've gotten used to seeing are all missing. Someone not moving at all is definitely weird. Even Misha can tell there's something wrong.
Hanako? Are you sure you're okay? Yes?
Are you sure?
I'm fine.
A little more strongly this time, but she turns away as she says it. It only makes me doubt her answer, yet at the same time I can tell she doesn't want to talk about it further. Having already had one very awkward conversation today, I'm still not fully over. I don't want to pursue the matter too much either. We settle back in our routine, debating over our answers whenever a doubt comes up. But as time goes on, I notice that Hanako isn't talking at all. It's frustrating. She had made so much progress. Makes me a little angry at Shizune and Misha for undoing the surprise Lily had wanted to keep secret somehow. Do you remember, I think Lily has mentioned that she's not very good around her birthday? Do you kind of remember this?
It makes her think of that.
I know I'm at fault too. Maybe I could have kept it under wraps somehow. Suzune has noticed Hanako's silence as well, and is also getting angsty. I can see it on her face. It's strange that even though she's deaf, Suzune's perceived Hanako's unusual quietness sooner than Misha.
Hanako, you're being too quiet. You have to contribute too. Someday, we might work on a bigger project, like one that's so big it's worth celebrating afterwards, like with ice cream or cake. If you act like this, we won't take you along.
I can tell they're trying to tease her to bring her out of her shell, but I don't think that's the kind of approach will work on Hanako. It'll just make her feel worse. Guys, don't tease her like that.
He-chan, it's all in good fun. She-chan says she teases everyone anyway.
They do back off, though, with Misha moving away from the issue by asking me a question again. On seeing how difficult the problem is seeing how difficult the problem she's working on is, I don't know whether it was a skillful dodge or a mere coincidence. Okay, Tommy just took off his shirt.
I'm sweating. It's bullets.
You want me to open my window?
You don't mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we'll need it during this.
Why?
Alright. Set. Important.
I just need to...
What?
Oh, okay. I'm gonna flip it. Get some more head support.
I can never get those comfortable. You're gonna need to be comfortable, dude.
Why?
You're gonna need to be comfortable.
Okay.
It takes way more time than necessary because Shizune keeps disagreeing with me while I'm trying to explain it to Misha. And Misha is quick to believe her over me. So quick, in fact, that she forgets to translate what Shizune's saying.
Are you talking about the problem they're trying to
Yeah,
solve?
remember, they're also working on an assignment.
I know, that's what I was asking. Are you talking about the assignment?
Yeah. Well, no, so he's just said that Shizune keeps disagreeing with him. Like, no, that's not the right answer. And the problem is he's trying to explain it to Misha. And then the problem is Misha trusts Shizune more than he does. Because, you know, when you have a posse of friends, you trust the posse more just because they're your posse. That's... Oh, yeah. Hey, the clock is kind of ticking down. We should speed up a little.
He-chan, you sounded a little like She-chan there.
She-chan?
She-chan. Shizune. Just because I looked at my watch? Geez, is that really all it takes? Time management and suddenly I'm the student council president? I look at Hanako's desk to see how she's doing and freeze. Our papers are covered in equations, but Hanako's only halfway there. Seems like she hasn't written anything in the past 20 minutes. And when I realize that, I want to kick myself for how dumb I've been. I should have known that someone as frail as Hanako wasn't going to brush off what happened so easily. And I've been too eager to move on from an awkward situation to notice. She's been slowly shutting down for the last half hour, and I had no clue. Her pen is still in her hand, but she doesn't slowly spin it around like she usually does. There isn't a single idle movement from Hanako. Only the fact that she tries to inch away once she feels Shizune, Misha, and me looking at her tells me that she's still conscious. We look away, and at least in my case, it's partly out of shame that it's gotten to this point. Though on the outside she's shut down almost completely, I know it's a different story on the inside. What kind of things could she be thinking about that she tries harder and harder to shrink herself as if by will... Shoot, man, I'm running these so much! What kind of things could she be thinking about as she tries harder and harder to shrink into herself, as if by willingly it could somehow disappear? Everyone is looking at her now, stealing quick glances in between putting the finishing touches on their work. Misha attempts to ask her what's wrong, but it only makes the problem worse. If she weren't frozen in her seat, she would probably run out of the room right now. Misha's questions are loud enough to be heard throughout the entire classroom. For a second, I'm ready to snap at her because I can only imagine how much worse it's making Hanako feel. Of course.
If I were you, Hichan, I would take her around and get her out of that room as fast as possible.
Of course, if I were to do that, it would only make the situation worse.
Walk up, take Hanako's hand, and guide her out of the room.
I believe that Hanako had gotten stronger, and she has, but it wasn't enough. I was too eager to believe it. Now she's terrified, alone in the middle of the classroom. There's nothing I can do without drawing more attention to her. It's infuriating. Misa's worried, and even Shizune's biting her lip. None of us know how to deal with this situation, so I decided to call Muto. His judgment will probably be better than ours. I look up and manage to catch his eye, silently motioning for him to come over. I want to make as little of a fuss about this as possible, since if there's anything that would make this worse, it's more attention being focused on her. I know that Hanako can see everyone staring at our group, specifically at her, because they know that if there's a problem, it has to be her. Everyone knows her, and that's the first thing everyone's mind would leap to. Her reputation for being a truant has marked her as an unusual person, even in unusual Yamaku. Who knows how many times they've stared at her before? Maybe it's because she's seen the class staring at her so much that she fears their gazes like she does cowering from them. The time it takes Muto to walk over must be like an eternity to Hanako, and she looks as if she's about to fall over. Muto quickly begins to ask what's wrong before catching himself as he sees Hanako.
Did we upset her?
Don't worry. Muto bends down after calming Misha and looks intently at Hanako's face. Hi, Ikuzawa. Can I help you at all? His voice is hushed and gentle. Everyone's acting so differently around Hanako now that the whole class has noticed something wrong with her. Hanako just the way his head kind of just faded closer, just made me laugh. Shoot! Oh my gosh, that's terrible. Hanako doesn't respond, so Muto gently rests a hand on her shoulder. She starts shaking at his touch and won't even look up. Hanako continues to stare into the equations on her desk, vision so unfocused that I doubt she even sees them. She's worse than before. I remember that not even an hour ago she was able to talk to him almost normally. Muto grimaces a bit as he stands again. Now that his expression's changed, I can see he wasn't exactly unaffected by what happened either. He takes a breath to settle himself before speaking in a very quiet voice. I'm a little impressed at how quickly he takes control of the situation. Is that it? Nothing's wrong then? Muto seems to say that to no one in particular. However, his words sound convincing enough that most of the people who are looking over at Hanako now turn away, getting back to their work. He gives a quick glance to his left and right. Several people at the desks around us are still staring curiously, but other than that, we seem to have escaped attracting too much attention. Muto notices me doing the same as him and smiles a little in his usual stilted way. I think for Ikuzawa's sake, it'd be good to quickly take her somewhere away from others. Nakai, Akamichi, could you please take Ikuzawa out of the classroom? I'll keep everyone settled, so please don't worry about anything but her, okay? He looks at Misha to tell her to interpret his words to Shizune, but she's already finishing her translation by the time he does so. It's remarkable how little thought she needs the sign, and she still looks quite dazed otherwise. Nodding, Shizune and I stand to move to either side of Hanako. Muto steps back to allow us some room, and talks to the table behind us as some people there have begun to mutter between themselves about what's going on. We look at each other before lowering ourselves in unison, taking one arm around each other's shoulders and lifting. The two of us begin to walk at a slow pace to make sure we don't inadvertently hurt her. As much as we try to make this look normal, I'm quite sure there would be many more gazes out on us if not for Muto's distraction. Eventually, thankfully, we reach the door and go through. Nobody's outside, and we walk down the hallway. Doesn't seem like it's making her more at ease than she was in the classroom. Finally ask if she wants to sit down. For a while, we simply stay in place and wait for her to say something. Suzune tentatively rubs Hanako's shoulder a little, but there's no response. Eventually, she shakes her head a little when Shizune tries again. Both of us are looking at her, so we pick up on it immediately. Suzune's hand again comes to rest on Hanako's shoulder as she awakens, her face lifting to two very worried and anxious people looking at her. She looks at us silently for a while. I'm initially worried she might freak out or do something extreme, but those fears prove unwarranted as her expression slowly changes from a almost lifeless blank stare to a more normal withdrawn shyness. She wordlessly lowers her head, her eyes evasively moving to the side. She looks embarrassed, almost ashamed. I want to say something, anything to help, but I can't, though. I don't really know what happened, or even what caused it. I feel helpless, and I'm ashamed of myself for not being of any use. Shizune shies before looking at me. Even without words, I think I can tell what she's asking. I'll take Hanako to nurse. Is that okay by you? I tried to communicate my intentions through hand gestures, but I don't feel like I managed to get through to her very well. Shizune makes a drily face in response to my gasulations, confirming my impression. I misspelled that word. She stabs her finger in the air decisively, first at me, then at Hanako, and then towards the stairs. She waits for me to nod before pointing at herself and then pointing at the door to the classroom. I get the feeling Shizune is much better at this than I am. I nod at her, since her plan is, after all, the same as mine. Shizune gets ready to make her exit, but she only leaves after looking at Hanako for quite some time. Are you okay with me taking you to the nurse's office? Hanako didn't say anything or nod, but she stands up in place by herself. Then I begin to walk. She obediently follows. I've read about people being catatonic before, but I think this time I'm seeing it for myself.
What's catatonic?
Catatonic is just, they're not giving responses at all. Like, you'll talk to someone, they won't give a response. They don't even act like anyone's there. She looks extremely tired. After everything that's happened, it's not a surprise. After Hanako silently takes off her shoes and lies on the bed in the infirmary, the nurse and I take our leave. He shuts the curtains behind us. We both take a seat, and I quietly and thoroughly go through everything that happened in quite some detail. I want to understand what happened, and the nurse has as good a chance as anyone of knowing. He nods through my expression, his face looking troubled as I finish. Must have been very troubling for you to have seen all this. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't. I get that she fainted, but I don't really understand anything about why it happened or why she's acting like this. He nods and his face is clouded. You don't know either? Well, yes and no. It's complicated. I assume you've heard about the concept of patient confidentiality at some point. It's a bit of a minefield in that respect. I'm going to put this pretty bluntly. This is a matter for Ikazawa, me, and her therapist. I moved to protest, but I think better of it. I want to deny what he says, but if I think this through rationally, that makes perfect sense. I understand. Good. I wish I could help you more, but I think what Ikazawa needs right now isn't somebody prying into her past or her emotions. She just needs someone to be there for her. She needs a friend. For what it's worth, I think you've done well in bringing her here. Sounds like you and her friends dealt with the situation well, too. I'd give you a lollipop or a sticker as a reward, but you might be a little too old for either.
I'll take the lollipop.
Eat it! There! Have another!
Stop
Ruin the moment! He gives a cocky grin, obviously trying his best to lighten the atmosphere. I'm not really in a laughing mood, but he does manage to give a smile out of me. Shoot! Thanks. Do you mind if I stay here with Hanako? I'd appreciate the thought, but I think it would be better if you let her rest for now. She'll be let back to her dormitory room this evening, so you could visit her then. I agree with him before standing. Feels like all I can ever do around the nurse is humbly agree with what he says. But it's the same with the doctors in the hospital, too. The walk back to the classroom was a long one. My mind feeling heavy under the weight of so many things happening so suddenly.
She fainted?
Well, I think the better term is she had a meltdown. Something around that, but she had a meltdown, a breakdown, but, not in the traditional meltdown kind of way.
Not like you?
Yeah, not like me, thanks!
That's what I was expecting, like her to start screaming or something.
Well, Tom, if anyone doesn't know, I think we've said in previous other episodes, me and Tommy come from a special needs school. We actually went to one. I was that kid. I was that troubling kid. Yeah.
I didn't see as a troubling kid.
I was that kid that always had meltdowns and was yelling because, I was like a little brat that hated that I was being shoved everywhere and everyone was telling me I had a problem with me, but no, there is no problem. I'm getting so real now! But, yeah. Do you see why that kind of hit close home? Can you see?
I understand not what you meant.
Yeah.
Because you can relate to her.
Yeah.
Now I see why you like Hanukkah.
And plus, not a lot of fictions tend to cover that kind of part. Even when they have, like, a character of that kind of disposition, they don't like to cover this kind of stuff. Alright, let's keep going. As I re-enter the classroom, I'm thinking about Hanako. My stomach feels like it's turning into knots while I think about how to deal with her. I still don't know what I'm going to say when I see her again. Thankfully, class doesn't pay much heed. There are a couple of questioning glances, but overall, not many people seem to be aware of what happened. Muto raised his eyebrow to get my attention when I passed by his desk. Nakai? I take it Ikuzawa's in the infirmary now? Yeah, I took her there, and the nurse said I should let her rest. Muto nods, assuring me that I made the right call. He scratches his chin for a second before raising from his desk. Everyone, I want to continue with the exercise. Nakai, I'll see you in the hallway, please. His speech is hushed, but overall it doesn't seem to be acting too differently from how he usually does. Being a teacher, maybe it's to be expected. As we go into the hallway, I notice him taking a quick glance left to right to check if there are any students milling around. The hallway is nearly soundless, but I can't think of anything except for waiting for Muto to speak. Nakai, what do you think the purpose of this school is? To cater to the needs of disabled students? Muto scratches his head as he shakes it. No. If we wanted to do that, we would have built a whole new school from scratch. One floor, talking whiteboards, and that kind of thing. Look around, Nakai. The school is about giving you all a future that you would have been denied in regular education. Oh!
Sounds like another school that we know.
Oh my! None of the staff are watching this.
You know what?
What?
I really like this game now.
Yeah! Oh!
I really love this game now. If only there was voice acting.
Huh? Think of it this way. If we wanted you to graduate and go straight to into a hospital, do you think we'd put this much effort? The bluntness of Muto's statement temporarily stuns me, causing me to forget about the immediate situation. No? That's right. We want you all to leave here as useful members of society. I'm not quite sure I'm following you.
I know what you're saying.
I have high hopes for you, Nakai. You are possibly the first student I've had that gets my lectures. That isn't something a teacher would be admitting so freely. You could easily take your studies of science and well into university. Have you ever considered that? I can't say I have. Well, what have you considered?
Did I ever mention that this guy looks like
Yeah. What?
Tommy Pickle Stan?
Yes.
I know.
Making chocolate pudding. Well, what have you considered? For your future, that is. I can't say I've put much thought into my future. For a moment, I'm distinctly reminded of Lily questioning me about the same subject. It's only been a little over 5 months since I was grasping for air on the ground. It's too soon to be thinking about the future. Besides, Hanako's problems seem much bigger to me right now. Muto gives a disapproving sigh before continuing. Excuse me! Frickin' iCloud, really?
Cloud.
No, a pop-up just showed up on the screen.
Hey, you! Get off of my cloud!
Think of this place as an opportunity. Here you have the boundless facilities, good teachers, plus the added bonus of the nurse and his staff. You should be doing nothing but thinking of your future.
Katawa Shoujo, a school built on love.
Oh! Right.
You get what I'm saying, though, right?
Are you listening to what he's telling him? He's telling Hisao to think about his future.
Oh.
As I raise my head to meet his gaze, a thought occurs to me. It's almost like Muto totally sidestepped the issue at hand. Excuse me, but why do none of the staff seem to care when Hanako skips class? I've seen you watch her walk out of the class more than once. Shouldn't you at least say something? Well, Nakai, it's not really that simple. Every student here has special needs. If it weren't for that, we wouldn't have a school here. For example, I wouldn't keep you in class if you were having trouble breathing, would I? But that's not... Muto cuts me off before I can even think about finishing my sentence. Ikazawa's case is very much like that. Instead of CPR or a pacemaker, what she needs is time and space. The faculty was made aware of this from the day she arrived here. Thus, whenever she feels the need to leave class, we let her do so. And even though she isn't a star pupil, she seems to pass all her exams, so it hasn't affected her ability to study. Isn't that enough? I open my mouth to protest, but I can't find a fault in his argument. While her condition does at first seem to be wholly psychological, its worst effects have been on her psyche. Wait, physiological. They're physical. Her condition is physical, but she seems to have some mental stuff going too. It still puts me off, though. Isn't she just passing on the responsibility for her problem? Surely she can't go like this her entire life. I understand that you might not be used to this kind of thing yet. It's a big change for you. That said, it's less than a year until graduation now. Maybe you won't have to get used to this school. If you keep your head down, I'm sure you'll do well enough in your exams. I numbly nod, more to simply acknowledge that I'm listening than out of agreement. I felt like I was getting used to this school, but it feels like I'm just being thrown back. It's getting thrown back in my face. But what about Hanako? I hope that she'll perform well enough to do what she has to do. What that is, I don't know. Not all students leave school with the idea of what they want to do, unfortunately. He takes care to emphasize on the last word, if it wasn't quite clear enough already, and gives me a moment to mull his words over. Today's been a troublesome day for you, and I doubt you'd be able to concentrate much anyway after all that's happened. So, I'll allow you to take the rest of the day off. Your grades have been good in this class so far, which makes me think you won't have any trouble catching up on what we've been doing. He gives a smile along with his praise, as if to make up to the seriousness of his lecturing before now. Go collect your things, and I'll see you tomorrow. Right. Thank you. Muto's roundabout speech has left my thoughts scattered.
I'll be around.
I'll be a copyright claim! Muda!
We'll spend the day your way.
Stop Platinum! Sunlight Yellow Overdrive! Ah! I hate you!
Hey.
Sorry.
Don't hate me, love me.
Don't hate me for what I am, baby. Hate me for what I can be.
A monster, maybe?
I'm still not any closer to working out what I can do to help Hanako. If anything, and my mind is all the more confused after what Muto said. I'm also still bothered by the fact that Hanako was helped at least much by Shizune, her enemy by proxy, as by myself, but I don't know whether that's just male bravado or genuine concern. While I collect Hanako's and my things from the class, I continue to try to sort out my feelings. I want to say that I understand her and that I'm there for her, but while I might have been able to say that just yesterday, I can't say it now. I wish I could. Well,
I know something he could say to her.
What?
Listen, Hanako.
Yeah?
I ought to be honest, I don't understand you.
Yeah?
But I care a lot about you.
Yeah?
And I want to understand you.
Yeah?
So if there's anything you want us to talk about,
Yeah.
I'm here to try to understand.
Oh yeah! Let's see how well that thought process gets you in this route. Well, you know what? I think that was like all full there. I think we're all set.
Ba-dump!
Oh my gosh! Talk about hitting close to home. No, you didn't hit close to home. You just smacked home straight in the face.
Hey, I have a question. How come you... Because you know how that school we go to, there's like PCs and some kids play PC games. This should be a game they should be playing.
I know.
You should suggest it to them.
I have, Tommy. I suggest this game to everyone. Some even call me a freak because I'm suggesting it.
No, I mean like bring this to like one of the teachers there.
I have mentioned it to a Miss O'Donnell, but she got a little, oh, that's nice. But then again, I can't say, it's like, I'm bringing up a video game. I can't say, it's like, you can't like think too long on that. Hi, Miss O'Donnell, you're not watching this. Hi, sister.
Well, it's more of a book.
Let's name call everyone. Miss O'Donnell, Sister Helen, Mrs. Melanson, Mrs. Krish, Miss Wiselis, who doesn't work there. Mrs. Palmer.
Miss Wiselis, I actually see her at my job place sometimes.
They have no idea we're talking about them.
She shops.
They have no idea we're talking about them. We're name calling all the staff from art school.
Miss Wiselis is our old art teacher.
Mr. Slows.
Mr. Flood.
Who was your teacher?
My teacher?
Yeah, who was your teacher again?
Okay, all the teachers I had, there was Miss. The first one, I can't remember her name.
Okay.
It was a girl with blonde hair, and
Mrs. Palmer?
No, this is like this is before you came.
Oh man.
Then I had Miss Krish.
Yeah.
No. I think before Miss Krish, I had Mrs. Goldberg.
Yeah.
Then I had Mrs. Krish.
Yeah.
It was either that or the other way around.
Yeah.
Then I had Mrs. Green, Mrs. Palmer, and Mrs. Melanson, all like three at one.
Oh, and Sister Phyllis. I forgot Sister Phyllis.
Oh no.
Yeah. Oh man.
She's up.
She's
in a better place now. She's
Yeah.
up in heaven.
Yeah. Oh, and one of the funny thing about Sister Phyllis was, when I first saw her, I thought she was just a grumpy old lady.
Oh, you are so wrong, darling.
Alright, folks, did you enjoy our little nostalgic throwback to our nice little school?
Oh, don't forget Father Bill, though. Man, that could be anybody.
Father Bill!
He could
Yes!
be anybody at chess.
Yes!
He always kicked my bum at
You know what we
chess.
gotta do next, Tommy? We gotta call Sister Helen and go take her to lunch.
You're absolutely right.
We got... Bye, folks! We gotta go! Guy! Bye!
You gotta go visit somebody at a retirement.
Oh, yeah! They have no idea what we're talking about. They're thinking, what are these freaks doing?
Hey,
What are they doing?
You want to go see a nun? Let's go visit a nun.
Well, let me just tell you, if you pull any ridiculous stuff, I'm gonna have none of that.